Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. That's right. Ah, and of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? There was a landlord, Mr. Garrett, who discovered the Shamspeare. Mr. John Garrett, yes? I expect we could find him in the sitting room. Great. We must remember to go and talk to him later then. Quite the skitty scene. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where did that audience sit, though? For night Shakespeare's performances? Actors inspiring the great statesmen practice their act, Miss Naruto, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. Victim of a current case. A failed actor renting a room in the same building as Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Yeah, definitely. What? Didn't you practice your art every single day? I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and pray the role of a judge. Ah! If that would help you achieve your goal, yes, I have to say. That is funny. It's the gas wall light, isn't it? Gas light, gas stove. Lon really is a city of gas. I think about it. Mr. and Mr. Garrett have an open fire on the top floor, don't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing any gas stove up there. Well, I must prepare a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. It looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, that's the gas meter, I think. It seems to be in the district. The residents pay for gas and use it with coins. I see. Now you point it out. I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. You mean, if you put a coin here... That's right. It would buy you about 2 hours of gas nights for heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you've got to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Or you could just go to the equator, or somewhere south, and not have to worry about it. And we've seen it from outside, the window is completely bricked up. A message of formal window tax and the Britons had to pay. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in their property, it's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unavoidable tax. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sato? If you look closely, a number of bricks are loose. Oh yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Well, Shamspeare... Mr. Shamspeare did it, I wonder? Being the laundry running his room. Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruto. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What outside? Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, with its grim shady go-ons. This one looks into the king's attire. King? I've always had dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you would be more suited for a feudal lawyer, my demo or such like. The chompage are top, not every Japanese man wishes he had a chompage. Oh, you look wonderful with one. Have you already have a sword? Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around with these streets in London with a chompage and sword? Of course, we need to look at the corpse. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. You suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? Oh no. All I can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder... Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help the British soul? Sorry? I'm sure to refer at the right for such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled, The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed. The British Way. Tell me more. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? What's this? It looks like part of an envelope, I think. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. Look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope in fact is there. Ah, he's right. And yet, here we have the torn off end of the envelope. This strikes me as unusual. I agree, we'd better take this, just in case. Brr, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through the gap. I did snow last night. It could be cold. But more importantly, what's on the ledge out there? Are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. What are bars of soap doing lined up in this edge of the outside window? I have no idea. Yeah, they do look rather charming. Strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined outside the window. Perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, wait, what's this? Look here at that soap. Ah. Do you see the middle there? There's a patch that's different color. It's sort of transparent, but it's some fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. It looks like a Hawaiian flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful! It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? Then what is it doing in this ramshackle old room? It's part of this different color. It's an exquisite design, isn't it? True, trust the British to do a boring part of soap. Trust the British to turn a boring bar of soap into something special. It's quite like it. It reminds me of the hallmark design of the Japanese flag. I expect this rather expensive soap. That doesn't seem likely, given who it belongs to. Yeah, they can do that to one bar. They can do it to a lot. It's not as expensive as it would look. There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just wine glass and a bottle, and both of them are cracked. Not much use, are they? What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking of it's a waste and he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Alright. Let's go to the Garrett room. Like, that'll help. 21st February, the Garrett household. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garrett's the only one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thanks for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garrett as anyone really. Came straight back here after all that business in the bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bawling nonsense this morning. I wonder, if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrett? Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground room floor. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's word, weren't they? I don't remember. I suppose we don't have to talk anything about the first clouded Kokora. It must have been a real shock this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Well, it was a hopeless actor chap rising at 5 o'clock sharp in the morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked at his door, but nobody answered. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called on a brown-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. Very true. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick down your doors every morning. Well, you know. Might be safe than sorry and all that. It's just me, or is he avoiding the gaze now all of a sudden? Except that was sort of situation in teeth that you found your phone on the side of the door. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspeare, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspeare. Took the ground floor from 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In the word... destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone who wants to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. Nah. I mean, not gonna lie. He definitely does not look poor. It's hard to choose which category Soseki would fall into. Tsunohoro? That's a little rude. Well, he's doing his research, well... Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet. All that. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. Okay! So this guy isn't William Shakespeare. This guy isn't William Shakespeare's parody in this game. This guy is actually someone who tried to imitate William Shakespeare. He's not a style or Japanese, you know, as many of his works have already been translated. He's incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to style, though. Something so heavy-handed there. There we go. The costumes in Victim's room actually weren't there. Now I'm also starting to realize that the 11-letter word is fit into 2 syllables. Imagining he and Shamspeare will have had much in common. Shakespeare integration agreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope not that. Tsunohoro? Really? How rude. Yeah. Definitely flashy and more... Huh. Sham. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? You didn't notice anything strange between them and this morning? Well now, it must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, I remember, and it was completely dark already. I felt like to chat without time. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up there, huh? It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back. And after chat was up till past the morning, I'll have you know. So I suppose the marriage ends sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. It was very illuminating. Well, I was just thinking that's a little strange, that's all. Together, you were up here in your room all the evening, and I understood correctly. Not a big fan of stairs, not with the blasted leg. Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of the lieutenant on the ground floor, I mean. That's a very good point. I can't imagine you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. This old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? I say, I know what you're thinking. It's a bally outrage. I'm an ex-military, do you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? It's gas woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Probably where the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd be more or less worked that out. Yes, I understand with that too. Let me see if I can explain. I'd say it was too light the gas lamps up here. Why do you suppose what happened? Well, obviously, the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, like in all the other rooms in the house, would dim for a moment. What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because, when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. Huh, neat. I'll explain why the other lamps did momentarily. Didn't mind it? Yes, of course. Because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. The fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out, and barely got any gas to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter than the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. By watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere? You've got it. Of course, because when people come back home in the evening, before they go to sleep at night, all they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps in fires. Clever. In point of the fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the gas here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh. That's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Almost fascinating. Nothing to it, really. And I can't really see that's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrett is so interested in what his talents are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than out of curiosity. Alright. Mr. Garrett, should I show you this? Been quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. I haven't really got the energy in the old... Some other time, then. Fine. Maybe you'll like to see this. My armband. Come here, Skabdip. Dude, no. Not that either. No, nothing we can do here. There he is, passed out. There's Iris, typing away again. Ah yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? So, what's on the blackboard today? Buck up, Bruno! What's this? Oh, I'm just playing around with the ideas for the title of the next month's installment. Another idea I had was with the buried coronet. I'm bored of turnabout to one use. What do you think, Bruno? Anything but buck up, Bruno, obviously. I suppose you're right. I'll tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. You'll have to wait until next month's in theme. So many sleepless nights. Anything out here? I just want to know. I'm playing the game with one hand right now. So, yeah, my actions might be a little bit limited. Converse everything with him. Alright, fine. Let me see if I can show him this. No, why can't you hear? I am T-I-R-E-D. That is definitely tired. Okay. Wait, can I actually examine this? Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Judging from the angle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed. Mrs. Sato, I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the inventions of Herlock Sholmes. Yeah, I guess that's all here. Alright, we're going to spy your house now. Right to left or left to right? Ah, who cares? Oh, copy of Rand's magazine. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful? Okay, I feel a good amount of this might actually be stuff we already know from Chapter 4. So just this once I'm going to enable this. Well, if parents don't let me going fast, I know viewers are going to want to watch other channels if I go too slow. Alright, military uniform, all that junk. Okay, fine. I'm playing with two hands again. Let's look at the belt. Look at those big bullets. Ah, you remember, do you? Just a little mishap that occurred during the train one day. What are you doing fighting your own men? The captain bellowed at me. I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't seem to be... Well... Hothead young private. And we have metal. That's also fixed now. Just wanted to check. I was trying to remember which Gyarados it was. Don't remember the Gyarados brothers, but I was getting confused between John and Alex for some reason. I was just curious from that part. I was thinking if there's anything actually relevant here. And it doesn't seem that there was any relevancy in doing all that. So I'm glad I enabled text skip. And now I can find something else that might not be a waste of time. Alright, back to the crime scene it is. Spiderweb, nothing good there. Alright, fanciful wig. Just checking everything, making sure. I have the fork's not obscure. If he's warm, does that mean he's still alive? He looks just pretty passed out. We actually get to see the corpse in front action. Imagine hitting a target this small. Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspeare and his guest drank from last night. Don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruto. There's bitter poison inside. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, girls' cups are empty. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shamspeare's. Another must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Alright. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? We're not listening. That's the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of this cup is completely clean. I suppose you must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruto. Well, if you just sip it down little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct the proper way to drink tea. This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspeare was drinking from, then. It's staying on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. I've never noticed that before. You've noticed? Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. Like I gulp it down. You tell while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear, so many people nongdi about culture. And most of them are Japanese. The Nippons definitely have played there. After I threw that little Japanese fella on the clink, I went on report to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we barely be leaving then. More Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low back in the cell again so soon. I'm sure. Most would probably go. And... What the heck? What's wrong, Mr. Naruto? Ah! Oh, brief candle. Life but a walking shadow. A poor player. I stressed him for his hour upon stage, and then he heard no more. Now, hasten on to the next part. It's a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day! What the heck? Walking Dead? The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A solid from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for a treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was. Bruh. Hey, it's that funny looking man that was with Shamspeare from case 4. What a strange situation, Mr. Natsume. Arrested him for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. Me neither. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison as we deduced. But was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep... I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. What's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks he's trying to see into Soseki's legends. Is something wrong with the Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Ah! He just ran off. I feel sure that I've seen the man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. Good idea. Mr. Natsume? Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. How I miss you. Like Mr. Naruhodo. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm trying to know how do you pronounce it. Ah! My controller! Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me! What is he a ghost? Here is he here to me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes? Yes, he is a ghost, and he's here to curse you. Yes, curse! But it's the diabolical connections. They're not of his world. They've left me. Ah! Cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Credit to where credit's due, Mr. Naruhodo. Moving on, we have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolute worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Struck, in the stone, suffering, and completely wrong end of the stick. Didn't you confess? You're a killer. You're only the mustache. It's only push questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you a selfish sister? Make sure your mind. Are you dead or alive? Or if you were coming back to life, why bother dying? Quickly, wishly, washy, William! It seemed that likely Mr. Shamspeare would never actually die in the first place. Ah, yes. That might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lovely debate last night was so much fun. It's not thinking the last night. Oh? Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspeare, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I'm the man, a lawyer present. Oh, do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I guys like this? Before I do, I'd like to show you my cups of glass. Just kidding, I need to show you my armband. Have I shown you this before, Mr. Natsume? Oh yes, a sweet, sweet aroma of our beloved homeland. It shows you where is defense lawyer. It means nothing but great brand, of course. Though I still wear. Oh, I know exactly who you feel. Welcome to Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. How my Harmic belly band? Don't feel right without it. Your Harmic belly band? It's perfect for the cold English weathers. Just the whole thing to keep my tummy warm. I'm just wondering if there's some play on word with Soseki Natsume. Let's see, Soseki, like Soseki, not Soseki Nats. Soseki Natsume. I don't think it's so. And Mr. Natsume, it's nothing much but... Ah, it's been long since I've offered the present. What delightfully adequate from our homeland. What? You're too kind. I accept it gladly. Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Can I tell you exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm entirely grateful to your helping with me for the case yesterday. In that case, we saw Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. They're truly a fascinating breed. Anything past night it must have been. I have tried visiting Shamspeare. feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I've never been in this room before. It was the first time. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when we arrived back at the house. We got chatting and developed into a discussion. But we had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garrett said. The victim went out and came back after 8. We gotta get later that evening, and around 9 or just after, we took him to the best tea board as a gift. We brought the tea and I had been clothed up and drunk at the scene, right? And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shamspeare, weren't you? That's right. It was Shakespeare, not Shamspeare. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. And sure. Such a swimming subject, Shakespeare! And the debate became very heated, so he slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea. No, never! Not at all! Our team Juliet won, that was me, and when I left his room, a flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it, categorically! What a nut job. To Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. A cursed existence. Elaborate, please. I'm sure I've been it before to you, but I've been here in the Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very tiring to live in a foreign land, and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me, they all laugh. They all impression I get wherever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I become a recluse. Not even my room, I find no respect for my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why, I mean? Why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because their rent is cheap. I have no money, so spoke it to me. Obviously, there is a reason why it's cheap. Because their room is cursed. Cursed? How? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. He's the only young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. I didn't. When I lying agent recommended a place, I wavered. But I want books! And books cost money! A horrible history is a small place to play. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like the lightning. Fly for Brinkard. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room history really was. Gosh, it was really so awful. How does the room horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? It was just a feeling. Feeling of being between eyes boring my back, watching me. That might just have been your mind playing you tricks on you? No, my mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to my place. A nightmare? You've been just having bad dreams, you mean? All of the cells where I died in that room. Lean over at me in my sleep. And try to strangle me! That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, that happened again last night too. The very same night Mr. Shamspeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. On the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room! Something must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right, I know it. That's why. I'm already searching for the next human history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you'll find yourself may become history. Susato knows how to make the man listen. Or even more scared. Of course. This mulatto manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garrett? He knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. For everyone, we wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps we should tell the people that it's cursed! That would explain why the landlord pays so much for attention for the gas lamp and its movement. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an usually kept interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he kept such close tabs on the occupant in his left rooms. What do you mean? He pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no. It's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget what I said. Oh no, now you're talking about me behind the back as well. What's important now is Mr. Shamspeare isn't in fact dead as at all. Once he's come around and is able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. I do hope you're right. Excuse me. I knew it. Inspector Gregson! And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. What do you want first? Always, every time. The bad news comes first. What hope is all you have? Hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right on. Well, in that case, the good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Then why'd you ask me the preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes, we saw it happen, and all that terrifying glory. He's still being treated back to the doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from it already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this... He died, didn't he? That's the bad news. Sorry, no. That's not on the cards. Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say, I do. Yes, he's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Ah! By sweet poison did he seek to end my life. That wicked caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No! I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanted to make necessary preparations. No! And so, once again, Soseki found himself having to take the dock at the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, on my almost break curse that blinded him. I literally just chanting the music now.